Hey, Geekscapists, welcome to a brand new Geekscape podcast. I'm Jonathan London, your host. If this is your first Geekscape, well, you picked a good one. We're going to be talking all about James Gunn's Superman today. But usually what I like to do is sit down with a storyteller. As a storyteller myself who makes films and comics and writes all this stuff, I've been doing Geekscape since, wow, 2006. And started podcasting in 2005, started broadcasting way back before that, up by almost 9 years. And I love talking to people mainly about stories. So that's what Geekscape is. It's me and a storyteller talking about sometimes the stories they tell, sometimes the stories we share and enjoy. And as a big pop culture nerd myself, geek, this is Geekscape. Today we're specifically going to be talking about James Gunn's Superman movie. Hit theaters, made $122 million in the US box office. Is that a success, or is it like, oh, we're going to compare it to the Marvel numbers from almost 10 years ago? We'll discuss that with Ian Kerner, who's joining me. He is a comic book encyclopedia. We're going to be kind of pushing and pulling on the movie. I don't even know if Ian liked it. We're going to find out. And then we'll be talking about the comic book origins, because this movie, more than we got in any of the earlier DC films, really kind of went into the DC grab bag and started pulling out some really great characters and putting them on screen. Was it successful? Well, we'll talk to Ian about that. We'll see. So again, if you haven't seen James Gunn's Superman, we're going to spoil the hell out of it. We're really going to get into the weeds on this stuff. Ian and I, we can talk about this stuff for hours, but we're really only going to do it for about an hour now for you guys, because it's like, please, we'll spare you. If you want any more of that, go on our Facebook or go at Ian on social media, but you can find us at Geekscape. Just search for Geekscape on the social medias, especially on that big Facebook group, or in Geekscape Forever, our Facebook group there on Facebook, and you can talk to us there. I'm obviously Geekscape or Jonathan London on a lot of socials. You can find me on all those. And we can keep this discussion going. But for now, strap yourselves in for some Superman talk. Again, I'm going to start the credits, the intro to the show. When I come back, we're going to be talking Superman. There will be spoilers, probably from the jump. So this is your warning. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and this and that, cool. Just keep driving. Just keep working at your work. Go run. Whatever you're doing whenever you're listening to Geekscape. I appreciate you being here, video or audio. Let's go. All right, Geekscape, this is it. Last spoiler warning for James Gunn's Superman that opened this past weekend. We're going to be talking all about it with our good friend Ian Kerner. If you're watching this on YouTube, Twitch, what else are we on? We're on Facebook. Cool. There's comments right there. You can put some comments in. Ian and I will talk about it. If you're listening on one of your podcatchers, maybe it's Apple Podcasts, maybe it's Spotify, click a little share link, send it to your friends. But if you're still listening to this, I feel like it's safe to start spoiling Superman. But I'm not going to do it alone. I need another friend in here to talk Superman with me. So I'm going to bring in Ian Kerner, the human encyclopedia, the human comic book encyclopedia, Ian Kerner. Welcome, Ian. How are you, dude?
Doing all right. How are you?
I'm good. We've shared links about Superman, mainly in the broader social media world. And, you know, there's a big movement of like, oh, Superman's woke, or Superman's American, or Superman's this, or the immigrant conversations. That's really where you and I have kept the discussion. So we haven't discussed whether or not we enjoyed the movie because we saw it separately this time. So I'm just gonna. I think
for all these years, we try not to.
We try not to.
Yeah.
So in like a 3, 2, 1, I think we should discuss whether or not we liked the movie. So just give me your main impression, if you can, in 3, 2, 1.
I really
Hated that it ended.
Yeah, I really liked it.
I hated that this movie ended, dude. Absolutely. Just, oh man, we got like some of these movies that we get there 3 hours. I'm like, that didn't need to be 3 hours. This movie is so packed, and some people have been critical of it. It does so much
I
that I
find
could have
that,
done 3 hours, but
yeah,
I loved every moment of this movie.
you know, among my friends are generally the most critical, and you're among them because you're kind of a hater.
I'm not a hater. Go back to the show. I'm not a hater.
Even the haters like the movie. Maybe not love it.
No, I don't
like
like
the movie.
I love the movie.
Yeah, and you loved it. I mean, one of our other friends that tends to be a hater a bit really liked the movie.
Ian, I don't know where I'm getting this hater depiction from you, because I think if there is an audio history of my responses to most of these films, and they're usually positive, and if they don't totally love them or enjoy them, I at least quantify that with some understanding as to why we got what we got.
I guess I probably think of you as a hater because there's so many things that you're just like, you're dismissive of them without even trying.
Oh no, I talk trash on you in the text. I mean, Ian,
you're a shit talker.
Ian spends so much time on social media that he pulls these links.
I don't spend that much time on social media.
Unreputable. Don't lie to me. Ian.
Shit comes my way, and I go like, Ian. Oh, okay, I just send this thing. Like, I barely even look at it.
I texted Justin today that we need to take your phone away. You were turning into the nerd equivalent.
I have to do something when I'm in the bathroom, Jonathan.
You're in the bathroom all fucking day then, because it's like,
listen, when you get older,
nonstop. I'm calling the doctor. We need to call it. With Stephanie's away, I figured you would be busy pursuing your own things, and I think you are. But we're gonna call a doctor, then a plumber, because you were sending us links from websites that existed for 10 days.
I'm not going to websites. People send stuff to me.
Ian, don't pass them on. They're not real.
Whatever. Sometimes they're just amusing.
Don't amuse us. We don't need it. We don't need your amusement. We are not on the bathroom. We are not in the bathroom. We do not need your amusement. You are amusing yourself. Do not pull us down the drain.
Speaking of this movie, Jonathan is bitching because I happen to forward something about this idea of James Gunn suing Trump or putting his face on a Superman image, which I didn't think was real, but I realized that they probably thought I thought it was real. I was like, because it doesn't even make sense that Gunn can't sue. It would have to be Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers wouldn't do it. My whole thing was I was waiting for that. Like, that would be great, you know?
The quote was hoping this would happen.
Yeah.
As if it was happening. I was hoping this would happen.
I was hoping. I'm still hoping, but it can't happen.
It's not happening.
No kidding. Anyway.
It's not happening. It's definitely not happening from a source called USA Media, not media, media.com, out of probably fucking like Bahrain or some bot farm somewhere.
I'm sure.
I mean, dude, like, you don't have to pass everything on to us. It's fine.
I don't pass everything.
Spend the restroom with your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, Ian, let's get to the real thing that we're here to talk about. This movie is
talk about the dog.
The dog.
I just want to talk about the dog.
Let's talk about Metamorpho. Let's talk about Guy Gardner.
Let's talk about everything. 1 second. We all knew, I mean, at least I always knew I was going to love the dog. But here's the thing that was special about this dog. Okay? It's like, there's certain tropes you have of dogs in movies and stuff. And if anyone that's ever owned a dog, had a dog, been around the dog a lot, like dogs have their own personalities.
Of course.
And this dog so had a personality. Honestly, the fact that the dog was a pain in the ass. It was sometimes Velcro dog, sometimes just rambunctious. Like, it wasn't well behaved.
We got this preview of him in pain saying, "Take me home." And in the trailer or the preview, he just loyally takes him home. Right. In the movie we saw, he does not do that. No. He bounces around trying to like play while he's bleeding out in the Arctic.
and then for me, leading to the second thing that I expected, but so was not what I expected, was the fact that Jonathan said, we're going to spell it, that he made a comment that he was fostering the dog, and the dog is Supergirl's dog. And not only that, its personality makes complete sense when you see she's a complete fucking train wreck in the most awesome way. I got to tell you, and again, I know we're going to talk about this movie, but
we will.
I was like, I know this show Supergirl's supposed to be based on, and I like that book. I mean, generally, I really like Tom King, and I like that book.
That's the Supergirl for all seasons.
Tomorrow.
World of Girl, yeah, Supergirl of Tomorrow, yeah.
But I was like, really, that's where they're going. But they present in like 2 minutes a cameo from Supergirl where she's this total party girl who's going out into the galaxy to planets with red suns just so she can party hard.
Yeah, you can't get drunk
and do drugs and whatever and just be the total party girl. I was like, holy shit, am I here for that movie? What a fresh and like real take. I cannot wait.
We'll get into that, but I'm especially here for that movie when you understand that Lobo's also in it, and that it's just going to be a Guardians style galactic romp. Like it's going to be a Guardians style. Awesome. It's going to be fun. And but who's directing that movie? Ian? The movie's filmed or filming now. Like who's filming that movie?
I'm completely blanking on who's directing that. I'd have to look it up.
Because David Mazzucchelli is doing Brave and the Bold.
Right. Well, we'll see, but maybe.
Well, there's supposedly a script now. But Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is
I don't believe for a second that all the backup from the script. I think Gunn is writing that script, or we'll see.
I think at the end of the day he's quote unquote show running a lot of this new DC Entertainment universe, and that's fine. Like he is the head of it. He should be putting his fingers on all of it. Obviously, Creature Commandos.
Look, here's the thing. I think we could all agree that the previous regimes were too hands off. And that goes back to Warner Brothers by nature used to be very not telling their filmmakers what to do so much. But we always said it lacked that Feige unifying vision. Recent Marvel, there was too many projects going on. Feige wasn't really overseeing too much. And that caused a lot of lack in quality.
And Ian, I actually have news. The person directing Supergirl is Craig Gillespie. And why I have hope for it is he produced I, Tonya. He directed Lars and the Real Girl. Mm-hmm. He directed the Fright Night remake, which I thought was great. And The Finest Hours.
I love the original.
The Fright Night remake's a lot of fun. It's really, really, really good.
Like I obsessively love the original.
This is a guy who makes some pretty cerebral movies. He does a lot of indies. Obviously, I, Tonya. I don't know if you saw the TV miniseries Pam and Tommy. Mm-hmm. I thought it was good. Dumb Money. He produced the TV series, or the film. Like this guy's got a brain. This guy's got a sense of taste, and that Supergirl movie is going to be a pretty big swing for him on a different tier. And I'm totally here for that because we saw James Gunn do the similar thing when he had gone from Super to Guardians of the Galaxy, and we did a lot of promotion with Geekscape from Super. We had him on. We had other people, multiple, and here he is with the Guardians. And now here he is with Superman. Ian, the movie takes place 3 years into him being Superman.
So let's back up a second. So
let's back up to the beginning.
They start off with this crawl, and they talk about, interestingly, there's clearly a specific reason why he felt the need to say 300 years people have been aware of meta-humans in this universe. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting thing to have done.
Who are some of the ones?
I'm wondering why.
Yeah, who are some of the characters that could be in play having been on Earth for 300 years?
So this is what we definitely know. We actually see in the Hall of Justice images of the Justice Society on the walls. So at the very least, it's going back to the 40s. So it's going back, 80, 100 years. Okay, so that's that. 300 years is different and interesting. I'm curious to see where they go with that. I'm not sure what they're going to do with that. Is that going to be Amazons, which could have been thousands, but they
that was my first thought.
Hundreds.
My first thought were Amazons. My second thought were lanterns.
Lanterns theoretically go back a lot longer, but maybe not aware of it on Earth, right?
Exactly.
I do wonder if they won't do Alan Scott as an actual member of the Corps instead of trying to make it different.
Well, the lanterns, and we'll talk about Guy. They're casting people in their 40s and 50s as the lanterns that we love in the comics, Guy and Hal, when we have Kyle Chandler in the Lantern series coming up. Jon Stewart's younger. Right. It's great casting there. But I kind of like that they gave us a Guy Gardner that was maturity-wise, age-wise, parallel to Kyle Chandler and what they're going to do with Hal and Lanterns. I thought that was really cool, which means that those guys have been superheroes for a while. They may have been superheroes before Kal-El started becoming a superhero.
Yeah, 3 years prior. 3 years isn't that long, So presumably they've been around a while.
The other one that is in play in this movie is the idea of where they're going to go with a character that's in this movie, Hot Girl, and the fact that she reincarnates in some of the
So it might be that they have Hawk Girl and Hawkman appearing at least up to 300 years ago. Now, again, remember their reincarnation, comic wise, that's thousands of years. It's going back to Egypt, right? And pharaohs and all that. So
is that this Hot Girl? The Hot Girl that we got in this movie, is she part of that reincarnation?
That, from what I've heard, just from synopses, they're saying reincarnated warrior versus, because I was waiting for, as they were talking about Superman and the whole alien thing. Well, they didn't say she's an alien, and I thought it was a little interesting they didn't acknowledge that Guy Gardner's getting his abilities from aliens. But okay,
right. Okay, Ian, where do you want to go with this? Because he shows up, we're in the thick of it, and then you start to kind of meet this Kal-El, you meet the Superman, but you also get some fun surprises that he just does away with origin stories, not just the Kent farm, which you get some really great Kent stuff in this movie, and you knew you would because the way that he treated Star-Lord in the Guardians movies, and there's a lot of heart in all these movies, and he does great with parents and kids. We got that with Yondu. And
I also
Star-Lord.
Really liked that the casting for the Kents. One comment I saw that was great was, instead of just being like movie stars that you stick them in Kansas, like Kevin Costner and Diane Lane, like these look like just salt of the earth, Midwest, out of shape, not particularly pretty people.
They're farmers. If anything, you got the movie stars from Jor-El. Like you got Bradley Cooper as Jor-El, and I thought that was really smart. And he wasn't wandering the halls. He wasn't doing the stuff that Russell Crowe was doing in Man of Steel. He was a message, and then he was a reinterpretation of a message later on. But what I was hinting at was when you see Lois come home and there's somebody in her apartment, she picks up a bat, she turns the corner, and Clark's there cooking, you realize they've been dating. You didn't have to have the meet cute. You didn't have to have the introduction to their relationship. You didn't have the introduction. He didn't have to get a job at the Daily Planet. All this stuff, it's like it was described to me
already. We don't need it again.
No, my one of my friends, I think Brendan Hay, one of my writer friends, said this movie feels like I picked a random Superman comic up off the stands, and I didn't read the comic before or the comic after, and they really didn't need to.
That's right.
And Heidi would ask me throughout the movie, like, especially when like Lex can just open up the Fortress of Solitude, she'd be like, wait, how is Lex able to do this? And I just had to finally just say, hey, sweetie, like, he will tell you. James will tell you later on when you find out.
To people that read comics, it was obvious how.
Yeah, he there was a clone of Superman standing next to him the entire time.
It was so obvious, but I mean, it would be obvious to everybody, but I mean, that was
even if he had one of his hairs, like the Fortress of Solitude responds to Superman's DNA,
right? And
that's the key to opening it. When I saw him just walk in there, I thought it was great. This Lex does, and I want to talk about how this movie does. This is what's amazing about a movie that is this packed. It's reverential to a few eras. You get a Byrne Superman, you get a Neil Adams Superman, you get a lot of the Silver Age
All-Star.
Superman in here.
All-Star Superman.
You get the Morrison Superman, but the amount of like 70s and 60s fun Superman, when I walked out of this movie, I was like, yeah, Mr. Mxyzptlk could show up in a film and it would work because of things like the pocket universe. When the president of Bulgaria or Bagalia starts walking through a pocket universe to go somewhere else really quickly, and Lex starts doing this stuff like the pocket universe. We don't have to introduce that stuff. We don't need a human.
Well, by the way, they already introduced it in Peacemaker.
Peacemaker is a side. He said it's a kind of a shifted canon on Peacemaker.
No, but that counts. And in fact, they're going to go further in season 2 with the whole notion of where his father has the helmets and that little pocket universe thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he said that this is a shift in continuity. The Peacemaker 1, Peacemaker 2 is a shift in continuity. Something happened. It's always the Flash thing. I'm still holding out for Blue Beetle.
Justice League.
And I'm still holding out for Blue Beetle to show back up. Because that was an untouched continuity in that one film, Blue Beetle. Didn't see anybody else show up.
Oh, no, but they're doing an animated series. My understanding is that continuity is going to stay.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's
Listen,
go.
the only thing I think that's really shifting, because Gunn has said, blah, 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 Justice Gang, which is obviously they're in the Hall of Justice. They're going to become the Justice League.
Of course.
But the Justice League, as we classically know it, doesn't exist yet. Simply because, and listen, the complaint my friend that I saw the movie with had was, why are we getting a Justice Gang, Justice League, whatever? Why are we not getting the Justice League we all know, Batman, Wonder Woman? And I said, honestly, because they haven't cast it yet.
If you don't have the Trinity, you don't have the Justice League.
Right. Exactly.
Phoenix Turf over on YouTube says, do you think Robert's Batman would fit with this Superman?
No.
I don't think tonally, and they've kind of talked about it as being a separate protected thing, and I can't wait for Batman 2 because the Penguin was amazing, and I'm excited for that. Jason Elliott says the Kents felt like real people, and I think that's what you were saying, Ian. It was great. X-Men super fan Emma Frost said, I watched Superman, I loved it. What a beautiful analysis on the Fortress opening. And
well, we didn't even finish. I mean, can we talk about
the
Superman robots? I mean, and the cameos in there. I mean,
somewhere in there, I wanted to see an alien zoo, and it was cool when they were fighting the little alien guy. He's like didn't want to kill it. You see him save a squirrel. I love the Superman. And when they ultimately killed it, I was like, no, his zoo, because that's where those animals go when something shows up and it shouldn't be on Earth. It goes into the alien zoo so it can put it back on its planet. And I wanted to see an alien zoo.
Care of it. Totally,
just like I want the Batman in this DC universe, which isn't Pattinson's Batman. I want it to have a giant penny and a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Sure. But
I want to see that stuff.
You know what we could bottom line about this movie is the characterization of Superman, both from the actor and the writing and the direction, all that, he was Superman. He was earnest without being hokey. I mean, really definitely not since Reeve,
Not since Reveal. His argument with Lois in the interview that kind of sets the stage on that stuff, and the fact that she kind of thinks about dumping him is pretty humanizing.
Well, just the idea of it was her own issues about dumping him and how she could, wasn't okay with him. Listen, here's something I do want to talk about.
Sure.
And it's a little bit of an argument, and obviously I see both sides, but here's the real problem: is Lois is kind of right in that argument.
Absolutely.
And yet you present it like, well, should we do this? But in the comics, they've covered this argument a lot. And for me, the real memorable time for me was actually Batman and the Outsiders #1, which goes back to the 80s. But in that comic, basically, everyone knows from the Nolan movies, everyone knows who Lucius Fox is guy that works for Batman, for Bruce Wayne.
Helps him embezzle from
Lucius Fox in the first issue of that comic is in a company called Markovia, and gets taken hostage with other people and all that. And the United Nations makes this big thing to the Justice League. We're dealing with it so that you can't go in. And Batman's like, well, fuck that, I'm going in. And Superman is all like, no, we can't. They were told us we can't go in. It's political. We have to stay out of politics. It's basically we have to follow the law. And Batman's like, I don't know who you guys think you are, but I'm a fucking vigilante. Like, I don't care about the law. I care about justice.
I would have been a cop if I would have been a police officer if I cared about the law.
This is bullshit. So Batman quits the Justice League and goes in and forms a new team. So it's interesting because literally for years and years, generally speaking, now mind you, the departure from that, Snyder did the same departure.
Mm-hmm.
Snyder said he doesn't care. So that's something that Gunn actually kept for people that like the Snyder movies, of Superman going like, I just got to do what's right. And this idea of, listen, it's not, even the argument, it looks like you're representing America. It's like, I don't represent America. When did I ever say I represented America?
Yeah. And people are going to die. Right.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, people are going to die, which is why he sends the Justice Gang.
Right. And then,
great.
And here's the other thing I want to talk about. Obviously there's been a lot of hoopla about James Gunn made a statement that, yes, it's very much about an immigrant. Well, first of all, no duh. But then you have all these people on the far right going, oh, Superman's so woke. It's like, well, Superman's as woke as it's ever been. Is the movie political? Look, the conflict in the movie looks very clearly to be, it's very much Russia and Ukraine, although the country representing Ukraine, he had those citizens look brown enough that more akin to people in the Mideast, which was okay. You
don't think that he's talking about Palestine here when it's a U.S.
so far as the people. That's what I'm saying is it's more Russia, Ukraine, but then he threw a little imagery in to make it feel like Palestine.
Right.
It's not. No, listen. It's
these are
very clearly other than the imagery. It's very much Russia, Ukraine.
Sure.
It's a country invading country, that is just there. So that's Russia, Ukraine, right? And whether or not they should be supporting it or stopping it.
Well, I think he can talk about. I mean, he can criticize Trump and he can criticize Elon at the same way, right? The sequence with the monkeys at the keyboards is great. The sequence with him controlling the gamers, the fact that Elon is a gamer and he's controlling these gamers and he's going A1, A1, A1. I thought that stuff was awesome. Yeah. With the Hammer Begalia stuff, that was great. He's got his own avatar in there.
The truth is, and people again talk about whether it's woke. I mean, when John Byrne, so listen, before
it's not woke. It's not. There was what was the line in that 78 Superman about, I'm trying to do the right thing, not for politics. So well, there's like half the politicians you could arrest. Like Lois Lane says it.
Lois says that. But not only that, in post-crisis, when John Byrne was handed the opportunity to redo Superman, did the Man of Steel miniseries. Previous to that, Lex Luthor was like this supervillain who was a science villain and all that. Mm-hmm. But he was a, lean guy who was about the same age as Clark seemingly. And, like he was fit and had his super suits and all that. And suddenly Byrne comes and he's like, no, he's a corporate raider. He has a tech company, but he's a corporate raider and he's heavy set, and bald.
You push him a little more kingpin.
But in fact,
physically,
the statement was Trump was the model of who Lex Luthor was
in the 80s.
Yeah. It was based on the image of Trump and the greed and everything.
That whole woke thing doesn't even need to be that covered here, because it's so ridiculous that you would see someone whose moral code is that was the failings in the Snyderverse, and I knew it the second that he had that conversation with Jonathan Kent about whether or not he should save the kids on the bus, and I was like, well, you can't really have a morally ambiguous Superman.
I hate that. I hate that in that movie.
I hate that he's morally ambiguous. You have to have.
Yeah, Jonathan Kent never, ever, ever does that.
Ever, but you have to have
such a jaded thing.
When he leaves the Kent farm, the failings in the structural failings in a lot of that stuff was that when Kal-El leaves the Kent farm, he's not a clean moral character. Here, he is a moral character who gets into some complications and has to find his moral way through it. And he has to navigate it with tools he doesn't have. So here he starts pulling from allies, like when he brings in Mr. Terrific, when he saves Metamorpho, which is one of my favorite. I mean, I can't believe we got Metamorpho in a movie like that. I want to discuss
Metamorpho.
We will, but that is a great Superman, one that says people at the end of the day, people were going to die. That is where I draw the line. Yeah. People are going to die. My job is to save them. And now we have a Superman that can go forward. And when Batman does what Batman does, which is gray stuff, or when the Amazon Wonder Woman is a killer, he's still in the middle trying to keep the Justice League together between the two of them. To that point, I just want to say real quick, X-Men superfan Emma Frost says, I think they would be great to match David Corn Sweat, Robert Pattinson, and Aaron Pierre, who I would love to see again as Hawkman. Would make an awesome Justice League, and let's imagine someone as Wonder Woman. We are cooking. Of course, I've finished Andor, and I agree that she'd be an amazing. That actress.
I love Adria Arjona as Wonder Woman. Again, I guess we didn't really answer the question. I think tonally, I don't think that version of Batman is right for this.
No, this is the tone, and I think you can go a little darker Creature Commando style. I think you can go a little more violent Peacemaker style, but I think the Superman had to be the one that came out and set the tone going forward. And sure, I don't know what the Clayface movie is. It can be a horror film.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
I don't know what.
I don't know where it fits.
I don't know what these really different things are.
Own thing completely or what.
But I like that we got this film. I think the next film out of the DCEU is going to draft a lot of success from it. And I hope it's going to be great. You wanted to talk about Metamorpho. I just want to talk about the supporting characters.
Well, all of them.
Metamorpho broke my heart. I think I loved seeing him on screen every moment of him.
Metamorpho was visually perfect, but the characterization was wrong.
Describe that. Now, why would he be
because
wrong
Rex
here?
Mason, who's Metamorpho's real name, he's basically Indiana Jones.
Right.
He's not this sad sack guy. And I don't even understand what his offspring was supposed to be.
A little, oh my God, Heidi lost it. I know
it was
we had a
cute,
kid.
but it's like there's no base in the comic, and then he has seemingly the baby mama who I guess
Is a
it's supposed to
human.
be Sapphire Stag, but isn't, because they actually show us a stag industries exists, but then they
Yes.
draw no, and I thought that was like a tease. Oh, that's how we're gonna get Metamorpho. Oh no, it isn't. Like I found that really weird. I found that weird. That was like it was just not.
Can both things be true, Ian? Can this Rex Mason have been a Rex Mason who has been brought to his knees by Lex Luthor?
Maybe, but
Because he was definitely brought to his
it,
knees by Lex Luthor.
Yes, it didn't seem like it, but maybe that's where they're going to go. I mean, I'd like to see it, but this just didn't seem like that wasn't Rex Mason for me. Visually, the powers, all that, fantastic.
Oh my
but that
God,
just wasn't Rex Mason for me.
When he shows up at the end.
And by the way, I need to add that
Yes,
I thought
sir.
it was ingenious. That was an ingenious way to get Kryptonite into the situation. Now, I did
Oh my
want to say
God,
something
great.
about that. I was
That was
bothered by
great.
something. I was bothered by something.
That the
The
movie
idea
didn't.
that everybody knows about Kryptonite, he's only been around 3 years, but there isn't any, but they all know about it, seemed a little like, all right, I'm missing too much here. Like,
Well,
he's been around 3 years. People know about Kryptonite, so he's already dealt with Kryptonite, but now it's gone.
We're also assuming that Kar-El didn't land first.
Yes, we are.
So his sister has not been on planet Earth? His cousin has not been on planet Earth?
Does
that make sense?
Like, knows her, but she's younger.
She's younger, but there have been storylines where even though she's younger, she was launched first and lost.
Yes.
Or she landed first in time dilation. There have been so many stories about how she's technically older.
The idea is she's older.
She was
supposed to have come.
Yes.
She thought she had this responsibility. She actually left, her family on Argo City, and they all die. She remembers Krypton. She was already a teenager when Krypton gets destroyed. Right. And then she's basically in suspended animation, time dilation, however they want. They've done it different ways. But by the time she gets to Earth, he's already an adult. So she thinks she's given up and walked away from her family and to go take care of him. And he not only does he not need her, now he's telling her what to do.
Right.
And she has PTSD, so she's a mess. So she just wants to party and say, "Fuck it, what do I do?" He has it covered.
Right.
No.
So that being said,
she's not there ahead of him.
We are going to get. We'll get an answer about the Kryptonite. We'll get an answer to the Kryptonite.
Maybe
it'll come back as long as it doesn't come back as a
Kryptonite
it felt
like a throwaway thing and whatever.
As long as we don't get a Kryptonite island that he has to lift by the end of the movie, and that's the entire crux of the drama. Not into that. I mean.
And yet, in the comics, they've just done this thing where he had to stop an asteroid.
I loved it.
It took him out, and now there's now so much kryptonite on Earth that like it's a problem. Like everyone can get kryptonite, and
I think
kryptonite bullets. So,
Dan Slott's Superman Unlimited that is great. It's so much fun to read, and it's funny how the absolute titles have kind of shifted. In sadly, the X-Men titles kind of failing after. Doing the whole Krakoa thing, like I'm shifted kind of heavier into DC recently. They're kind of cooking.
There's a lot of good books these days.
Heidi had a problem with the presence of two black holes in the movie that didn't really have a lot of influence, no time dilation, no spaghettiing. And this is how if you'll allow me, this is how I saw the stuff with the black holes, and because they show up in Metropolis at the end with one of the pocket universes, and then of course they are in the pocket universe that becomes unstable because Lex keeps messing with it. The way I justified there being a black hole in a pocket universe and not it completely just eradicating everything in a blink is if you had a sweater and you created a pocket for it, an additional pocket for it, and it's put a moth in there and sealed it up, the moth would chew, and as it got bigger, it would pull on the strings and just start to destroy that pocket. Eventually, it will start to destroy the sweater that is attached to, unless you sealed it and disconnected it again from that sweater and saved it. And that is what they're doing in my mind in this film when they open up access to that pocket universe where there's something destructive like a black hole, like the moth, and it's eating everything about it and it's getting more and more unstable.
No,
you have to seal it off and disconnect it.
Heidi's
and so at
point
the end,
is while you're inside it, it should be affecting you differently. And
it should be affecting you when you're in it. But when but that's why at the end, then the last tag when Kal-El and Mr. Terrific are looking at the building, and it's like,
Right.
dude, yes, I re-sewed, quote unquote, in my kind of like metaphor is, yes, you restitched the sweater, but you didn't restitch the sweater perfectly.
No, yeah.
You just removed the pocket with the moth and you restitched it, but it wasn't perfect.
Right.
And maybe there's a place where something pops out of that later. You know, maybe we get a Mixoplex or something out of that later. But let's talk about the engineer, because there were a lot of people talking about how the Authority was going to be in the movie, or members of the Authority. We got the engineer.
The engineer, apparently, Gunn has said he has plans. I don't love that she's a villain.
Well, she starts to gray there at the end. He keeps telling her, you don't have to do this, because she came as a soldier. She had good intentions.
Yeah.
And I believe Rick Flag Sr. has good intentions too. And we'll explore that more in Peacemaker. But in the end,
I had no issue with him in the movie as far as I didn't feel he was bad at all.
No, he's great. But
I mean, not just the actor. I mean, like even the character. I was like, no,
I'm with you, brother.
There, yeah.
But for the engineer, that when she's about to get taken out in that fight on the football field, he's making concerted effort to say, hey, you don't have to be a villain. Like, you don't have to go along with Lex.
Yeah, and it was great. It's like, it's not just, he's like, yeah.
I see her as doing something in the future. Can you
tell
me
about the
Authority?
The sun.
Cavill would have snapped her neck. Can you tell me?
Throw her into the sun.
He would have had to throw her to the sun to keep her nanites or whatever from growing. Tell me about the Authority. Tell me about the engineer, where she comes from in the books, because I think when he mentioned the Authority, he thought that would be a super team that Lex uses to.
It's similar enough. I mean, they've indoctrinated some of the Wildstorm stuff, but yeah, she has nanites in her blood. Integrated. Yeah, but personality-wise, and being the bad guy working for Lex, which is that character never does anything like that in the comics.
Do you see her as part of a cinema? Because there's an Authority project that's been announced.
There had been. I've heard that's in turnaround and it's not happening anymore because it was just too expensive. Remains to be seen.
Okay, but the Authority,
it's fallen off the list. It was one of the early announcements, and you don't see it anymore.
Okay, but the Authority she's a part of it.
Yeah,
or she could be the beginnings of it.
Well, so that's another thing that was interesting. Lex calls, his group Planet Front, which is pretty much like Stormfront.
I thought that was cool. Yeah.
So, and basically, the Authority spins out of Stormfront. Excuse me, Planet Watch is Stormfront.
Do you think we could see, only because X-Men superfan Emma Frost brought it up, do you think we could see it, like, and I know this is one of the worst movies in the DC Entertainment Universe prior, but this rendition was amazing. Do you think we could see the Aaron Pierre Hawkman again? He gets reincarnated.
What do you mean?
Wait,
I think you're getting confused.
No, who played Hawkman in Black Adam?
What's his name? Who I love.
That's who I want to see.
He's playing Cross now.
Who is Aaron Pierre? Let me see.
He's talking about for Green Lantern, for John
Stewart. Oh, that's Green Lantern. Oh, no, let's bring in.
Yeah.
Aaron Pierre's in. I love Aaron Pierre. That's brilliant casting.
Yeah.
Who's the actor who played Connor Hawk?
With an A. He's on Cross now.
Oh, Aaron Pierre is gonna freaking win awards for everything.
Yeah. I'm blanking on his name. And I've actually met him. Nice guy.
I love Aaron Pierre so much.
No, I mean the guy that played Hawkman.
The guy who played Hawkman was awesome. I'd love to see that Hawkman again. I'd love to see that Pierce Brosnan Dr. Fate again.
Listen, I really enjoyed the Justice Society in that.
Justice Society is the best part of that movie.
Black Adam was flawed in many ways, but Justice Society was good.
Justice Society was a lot of fun in that movie. And I found myself, when I watched the Justice Gang, wishing that we could see that version of the Justice Society, or at least pieces of it, come back, especially since you start to see the Justice Society of America like shouted out in the background of that League of Justice. That was awesome. The Hall of Justice I gasped. I was like, this is so badass that we're in the Hall of Justice right now.
And can we just talk about, I felt like the trailers made it look like Guy Gardner to be a caricature. He was perfect.
Aldous Hodge is who we're talking about.
Thank you. Exactly.
Thank you, X-Men superfan. I'd love Aldous Hodge back as
Aldous is great,
man.
But Fillion as Guy Gardner was absolutely perfect. Like it was like he came to life out of the book.
But you knew that when you
Everything.
cast
And
him.
his face. Yeah, and his face. Like his face looked exactly like Guy Gardner.
But you knew that when they cast him.
Yes, I did.
You knew he's going to be perfect.
I did. But then, some of the trailers, I wasn't sure it was going to be a little too hokey, and it wasn't.
No, spot on. And when he starts joking about the name change and letting people in on the Justice Gang because of the vote of the name change, that joke at the end with Metamorpho saying, that's a pretty cool name. You're in.
Yeah.
Who gets added next, Ian? Like, looking forward, I'm just going to show you real quick the slate that we got coming up here on the DC universe. You got Supergirl coming up and a Clayface movie we don't know much about. And
I
then,
don't think the Clayface movie is part of this.
It says right here, DC Studios will introduce the film Supergirl and Clayface in theaters and the series Lanterns on HBO Max.
Is Clayface part of the DCU or is it separate like the Batman? That I don't know.
This is Zaslav talking.
That doesn't matter.
And he says, Superman is just the first step. Over the next year alone, DC Studios will introduce the film Supergirl and Clayface in theaters and the series Lanterns on HBO Max, all part of a bold 10-year plan. He's including it here. He's not mentioning a second Matt Reeves Batman in this.
So presumably we'll at least get some more clues to the Batman of it.
And it's the same Clayface that we saw in Creature Commandos, which was ruthless.
Right.
That Clayface straight up murdering people.
Well, it's not clear if it's the same one or not yet.
How could there be multiple Clayfaces? Explain that.
There have been multiple Clayfaces.
Okay, as a Batman fan, the main one that we know is the actor guy, right? Like Marco. And that's the traditional Clayface. Was that not the one that
it's not the original, actually.
Okay, tell me about Clayface real quick. I know this has nothing to do with.
Clayface didn't have the Clayface powers like that. It wasn't like a walking sludge. And then there's that one, and there've been a couple after that.
Okay, excellent super fan Emma Frost. I want you in every live stream. Okay, I'm telling you right now, I want you in every live stream because you come to my rescue. Wrote Basil Carlo is the original. Thank you so much. I read too many comics and I don't get enough of the knowledge to stick because there's just too much. Basil Carlo, right, is the original Clayface, but you're saying not the original Clayface.
Listen, if you go, honestly, it's one of the things I really liked about the recent Batman cartoon.
Yeah.
That felt like the original Clayface kind of thing, But look, the bottom line is I think they're going to do something. They'll combine it in some ways, I mean, for me, I want the Mud Creature. Clayface,
I do too. I want the one that we got in Creature Commandos.
And we got that in Creature Commandos. So it remains to be seen if it's going to be the same one or not. We'll see.
One thing, are you reading Batman Robin Year One by Mark Waid?
Yes, but I'm a couple issues behind.
Because there's a Clayface in that. It's awesome. It's fun. It's really clean. Mark Waid is really not.
Waid is writing a lot all of a sudden.
He's kicking some ass.
But he has like several DC books going at the same time.
The World's Finest.
World's Finest has been great. And
then
now he's on Action. He's on Justice League Unlimited. He's doing that. Batman and Robin too. Like he has a lot of different books going.
In Geekscape, is if you can find, you don't have to read all the World's Finest. I do recommend it because I've been reading all of it, and it has crossed over with Justice League Unlimited, and I enjoyed that crossover. But there is an annual that he put out in the last year, and just go find the annual. And it was World's Finest Annual, and it takes place years prior to them knowing each other and having a long history or Legion of Doom or any of that stuff. And Lex and Joker team up. And it is such a great characterization of both of them. And it's Lex basically realizing how nuts Joker is as they are the solutions to each other's problem. That single issue is so well done.
And following up on that, they recently did this interesting crossover where you had Justice League Unlimited, which is supposedly the modern day, and World's Finest in the past.
Yeah.
And he decided to bring the Legion of Doom from the past into the present. And
well, they had
this whole thing,
because they're not locked up.
But it really called or they've changed, or
and who's in charge?
And
who's the bad guy in charge? Gorilla Grodd. It was so cool.
But the interesting thing to me was even recognizing like how much they've changed, and like Joker's even so much crazier now, and he wasn't quite as crazy, but a little crazy. Like all that stuff was really cool, calling that stuff out, I thought.
And then Dick Grayson runs into Dick Grayson and as Nightwing, and they're looking at each other's costumes and this and that. And I I'm
It was
thoroughly
good.
enjoying Mark Waid's corner of the DC universe.
Yeah, it's good.
X-Men Superfan Emma Frost comes back and says, I actually heard that it was going to be Basil Karlo in name, but the story is more based on the two-parter episode of the Batman animated series. In that series, it was Matt Hagen. Jason Elliott jumps in and says, Mark Waid is the ultimate utility writer, as he's written just about every character, and he's done it well. And
yeah, listen, I'm an old school huge fan of his Flash run.
Yeah, his Flash run.
Years and years.
I can't
One of
even
my
believe that
favorite
was the
runs.
90s. I can't believe that was the 90s. It
One of
makes
my
me
favorite
depressed.
runs.
And of course, you see Wade's name up on the sign post as one of the street names in this film.
Because he wrote Birthright.
Ian,
did you hear what I said?
I did. Brother, I love you. Where does this go from here as Superman when Lex gets put into the police car?
So that's interesting that they actually say he's going to Belle Reeve. So that's
he's
really
going to
interesting.
Belle Reeve, yeah. Tell me why.
It's really interesting because Belle Reeve is where Amanda Waller operates the Suicide Squad out of. So what we've seen post the Suicide Squad movie is currently she can't just take, people that are, incarcerated at Belle Reeve and put them in a Suicide Squad. So that evolved in Creature Commandos into they're going to use monsters, so instead of the task force aspect, it's their monster force, right?
Monsters, yeah.
But it remains to be seen. It's going to Belle Reeve. We're supposedly getting an Amanda Waller miniseries. What does that mean? Will Lex be in it? Where are we going to see that stuff again? We have Peacemaker season 2 coming up. Will that touch on that at all or not? Unsure. I do know supposedly there's a major cameo towards the end of season 2 of Peacemaker.
I'm excited. And I mean, I like the cameos that they had in the trailer where he applies for the Justice Gang and Guy Gardner and Hot Girl basically laugh at him. As I saw him get in that police car, basically what I wanted to say was I already saw cinematically with Nicholas Hoult playing at that scene from Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman.
Well, what they've done is
where he escapes by getting his food. Like he orders specific meals every day until he builds up a specific formula to make himself superhuman, so he can just punch himself out of a wall and just walk out of the prison and they can't stop him.
Yeah, look, they've built up this thing where I feel like Gunn has said, okay, I'm starting off with the version of Lex Luthor that's been around since like that in the mid 80s of he's this corporate guy, and now he's completely, probably irrevocably tarnished, and now he has to be the classic supervillain.
Are we going to see him in the suit? Green.
I would expect that's what's next for Lex Luthor. I don't know when, but I'm saying that's what he's now set up. He's the bad guy, and probably goes to the more that level of thing. Like he actually cries, like he's broken. That aspect of him no longer works. And the fact that they actually made it so that he was completely behind the war, was an interesting way of going, hey, it turned out that Superman was right for getting involved because it's all Lex Luthor behind it, but didn't necessarily take away the notion of politically should someone be exerting their will. Isn't that like what Superman's always said? If he does that, he's a dictator. Like that's going to the injustice aspect of it, right? So it's tricky. I mean, as I said, I think Lois is right. I think it's an interesting idea, morally speaking. You get into the idea of should Clark ever be reporting on Superman? Should even Lois, since she knows and she's withholding? She's too close to the subject, right?
Yeah, but speaking of how great the Daily Planet cast was amazing, but I want to point out we gave Jimmy Olsen something to do, and he was awesome.
I love Jimmy Olsen. One of my favorite things in the movie, and supposedly there's rumors of potentially a Mr. Terrific, Jimmy Olsen both getting spin-off shows.
I just love that he got showcased.
Yeah.
He had his own storylines.
My only issue with that was I felt that, I loved Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. But if you really think about it, Lois Lane did more as Superman's girlfriend than as intrepid reporter Lois Lane.
Sure.
Like that was one of my, I really liked the movie, but one of my complaints of the movie was, I'm not saying she was a Mary Sue, but you know what I mean? Like Lois Lane is a really strong, great character. And the argument is we saw that side of her when she interviews him.
Yes. And she's also,
well, we don't see it professionally.
Yeah, she also puts on the moral. Like, she's also like the moral breakers for Clark. Like,
Yeah,
she's
the point
also the
is,
person.
Jimmy does all the investigative
And I
journalism.
thought that was great because it gave him
Yeah,
something to do other than take
I
photos.
agree. I'm just saying it took away from Lois doing it.
We
That's
can
all.
see how this is Jimmy Olsen, Superman's best friend, and he's
Yeah,
ready to go and have his
yeah,
own spotlight. In the
yeah.
Mr. Chervik
I mean, it
spotlight,
would have been
I'm
great if he
all
turned
for
into
that.
Turtle Boy, but
All
he'll
in
get
time.
there.
All in time, he'll start absorbing kryptonite powers. All
Right.
in time. And what I love, again, I was laughing my ass off when I see that President Bagalia start walking through a pocket universe and those old things, because I was like, oh, this is going to get silly. I'm here for silly, because silly means you can start getting Mr. Mixoplitz and Bizarro and Gorilla
Mixospitalik.
Grodd and all this stuff. Can you pronounce that for me again, sir?
Mixospitalik. You can just
Great.
call him Mixie, but
Yeah. I love you, Ian. Did you practice that at the schoolyard as a kid? Like, how did you? Is
Not
that
at the
accurate?
schoolyard. Yeah.
Is that an accurate pronunciation?
Yeah.
You got that from the DC animated films.
Go watch. Yeah, go watch.
There you go.
Show. It's Mixospitalik.
Mr. Bitch. Wildman Beyond is echoing my thoughts immediately when he says, I want Brainiac. We all do, buddy. And if somebody's going to do Brainiac, and it's going to be Gunn, because he loves the stories of the hive mind. He loves the stories of the Conqueror
but by
taking
the
over.
way, and a great way to do Brainiac is, I mean, hopefully they'll be at least suggestive of Brainiac in the Supergirl movie.
Let's go.
Like, to me, the cool thing would be at least reference it. We should
Brainiac's
learn more about
there.
The Brainiac come from Argo City, like what happened there. So we'll see.
Brainiac's out there. Was he responsible? There's storylines where he's responsible for Krypton's destruction. Right. Jason Elliott says, would you say that Lex Luthor could possibly be the overarching villain in this new DCU? Maybe. I want to see I want to see the Legion of Doom.
Honestly, it's a shame, because you have to question what brings the Justice League together. And the truth is, I mean, look, way back when they've done stories with, it was Starro for the longest time. And we've done Starro already in the Suicide Squad. And, the one thing that Snyder started doing right, he didn't quite get there, was Darkseid, right?
Yes.
So I don't think anyone else is going to touch it. And that's a shame, right?
Well, should anybody touch it until Dave Bautista's ready to do it?
It's not about the casting for me. It's about the story, right?
And I don't think that Snyder's interpretation of Darkseid will have, even though it was spot on and really good, and I love the Mother Box stuff, and my favorite part of the Justice League that they put on Netflix or on Warner's Plus or whatever was
Bingham, yeah.
No, I love the battle on with the Amazons where you see a lantern flying around. That was fucking badass.
Yeah,
when you see a lantern flying around, I thought that was badass.
Yeah, that was
I'm
awesome.
A big fan of that Darkseid stuff. But
you see a lantern and you see Zeus throwing lightning bolts.
It was badass.
Yeah.
And I think I don't think Gunn's going to stop at any. No, Gunn's going to give us Darkseid. Like, he's too much of a DC fanboy.
I would think so. I'm just saying that I don't think, that's not going to be the Justice League movie, because it's too much of a retread. And that's a shame, because it is a great way.
Well, it's not going to be done like that.
Right.
It won't be done like that. It'll be done like Gunn does it. And Peter Alton, when we were cutting together, Peter Alton was still shooting stuff for James. And we would talk about James here and there, and we'd see James at the.
We're more likely to get a New Gods cartoon than we are to get Darkseid in a Justice League movie.
But James would walk down the street on Ventura holding his DC books and giggling. The dude is DC through and through. He had to take a crash course on some of the Marvel stuff, and he did great on Marvel. The DC stuff, nothing's going to stop him from giving us a Darkseid.
As I said, and I think the way we're more likely to get it would be like a New Gods animated series. To
begin with. And it will come to live action. We're going to get a live action version. We're going to get a live action. And there's a 10-year plan with Zavlab. Sorry if I mispronounced your last name, like I did Mixoplixix. Let's finish this out with: does Brainiac count for the Gods and Monsters theme Gunn is going for this version, this chapter here we've got? You know how he's kind of called this early chapter. All right. Do you think that Gunn should do the Death of Superman storyline with Doomsday?
No, it's been done.
It's been done. I don't see
this Superman getting so many times
just to die. Yeah,
By the way, it's done live action so many times.
Will we get a Doomsday?
Superman and Lois just did it. Snyder just did it. Right?
Yeah.
Is there any reason to do it again? I was worried going into this movie because I was pretty sure that Ultraman was going to be a clone, and the imagery of his suit looks a lot like the initial Doomsday suit versus except for the color. So I was worried they'd go there. I was glad they didn't. They went, and mind you, just calling him Ultraman was already a call out instead of a clone, because the Ultraman in the comics is, the Earth 3 version of Superman. That's bad. So, there was a lot of different things they could do. And obviously, well, not obvious, but, post-crisis, Bizarro is the failed clone. So, he took versions of a lot of things there. He's acknowledging a lot of different comic stuff there. I don't think they've gone to that like over and over,
And if this Bizarro claws himself out of the black hole, or this clone claws himself out of the black hole, does it become Bizarro?
Maybe, but the simple truth is, if you want to do Bizarro, you just have him do a second clone. You don't have to have it be this one.
Okay. Ian, last question. Sir, what are you drinking? That would be Diet Coke. I'm all out, which means we got to end this. Ian, final thoughts on Superman, a movie we both loved. I loved
it. Loved the
Can't wait to see it
dog.
again. Let's go see it again.
I'm gonna have to take the family because they were away. Probably sometime this week. My wife said they're getting over the jet lag.
Okay, and Ian, I got to tell you, because I'm going to tell the listeners, Comic-Con's next week, dude.
It is.
We're going to talk Fantastic Four in like a week and a half.
Yeah.
And Geekscape, as you're coming to Comic-Con with me, booth 1632 there on the floor. We're going to do interviews at the booth. We got
we'll
press
have to
going out.
Discuss how we're going to do it, because I think I'm going to be away the Monday after Comic-Con for like 6 days. But we'll talk about it.
Oh, well, bring your microphone wherever you go.
No.
And we'll StreamYard it. Or we'll just do StreamYard with a little bit of more echo for Ian, or a little more not as nice microphone.
We'll figure it out.
We'll do it. Where are you going? Can you tell us?
Florida?
Oh, yeah. They got internet in Florida.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I mean, listen, I'll have the iPad. I might not have exactly the same setup, but it
doesn't work on iPad. Do you have a laptop?
We're going to figure this out.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We can figure this out. All right. Ultimately, Wild Man Beyond says, I don't like the fact that they called him Ultraman because he already had a superhero that is tall as Godzilla and fights. I love the Godzilla. I love the Toho Ultraman. You kidding me? Love that Ultraman that grows up. And dude, Wild Man Beyond, I love you. You got to see that Ultraman Rise on freaking Netflix where he adopts the kaiju baby. Damn, that's a fun animated, like Into the Spider-Verse style movie. Dude, that Ultraman movie, you know who'd love it? Dash, your stepson would love Ultraman, that animated Ultraman movie. X-Men Superman, Emma Frost says, have a fun rewatch. And for those of y'all watching and listening, we're going to have a fun San Diego Comic-Con, and you guys are going to come with us. I'm going to be signing our comics at the booth. We'll be interviewing people. We'll have signings. We'll be having fun for all 5 days. And the audio will be right here on this feed. Not so much the videos and live action videos, although you should subscribe to Geekscape TV, where some of us will be putting up things like these verticals. We'll be putting up all sorts of content. But if you want some of the interviews, subscribe to the Geekscape podcast feed on Spotify or on Apple, whatever you guys use for your podcasts, and you'll get all my interviews that we're doing. And then on to the next convention. I know what the convention is after Comic-Con that I'm going to. It's 2 weeks afterwards. It's going to be a blast. Do you think the Authority is feasible? I think we talked about it a little bit. I think we're going to do Apollo Midnighter. They're a little similar to Batman Superman. We'll see. Yeah. And I would love to see Apollo and Midnighter make out on the big screen and really piss off. You thought Superman was woke? Yeah. Let's get some super make out on the big screen in front of all the people. You think Superman's woke? Wait until Midnighter and Apollo. That'd be badass. That'd be great. Wild Man Beyond, thanks. Thank you. And Geekscape is, I think we're going to do a San Diego Comic-Con preview special on this feed very soon. Probably Monday or Sunday night. Probably Monday. And then the next morning, we're driving everything to Comic-Con. So we'll see you then. Much love, Ian. Much love. Much love. Bye, everybody. Ian's going to